Chief. What we're going to do, we're actually going to have you with us. Okay. Stand it. All right, thank you. My name is Sergeant Rick Hernandez. I am the Public Information Officer for the Surprise Police Department. A few housekeeping notes before we start. Hopefully everybody received a copy of the agenda for this press conference. It has the spelling, rank, and agency of each of our speakers. Each of our speakers will provide a brief statement. We ask you all to please hold all your questions until all speakers have spoken. One member of our communications team will have a wireless microphone available to you, so that way everybody in the room can hear your question. At the conclusion of this press conference, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell will hold her own briefing in the courtyard. With me, to my right, I have Surprise Police Department Chief Benny Pena, Scottsdale Police Department Chief Jeff Walther, Phoenix Police Assistant Chief Edward Ed DeCastro, Surprise Fire Department Chief Brandon Espy. To my left, we have Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, Arizona Department of Public Safety Superintendent Bill Long. We are here to discuss the arrest of Raad Almansoori. On February 18th, Raad Almansoori was taken into custody after he stabbed an 18-year-old woman and stole a vehicle in Surprise, Arizona. Almansoori was located and arrested by the Scottsdale Police Department without incident. While speaking with Surprise detectives, Almansoori indicated he was involved in a stabbing incident in Phoenix, Arizona, and in a murder in New York City, New York. Our detectives then contacted detectives from the Phoenix Police Department, the New York Police Department, and coordinated with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office to hold Almansoori without bail. And now, please allow me to introduce from the Surprise Police Department, Chief Benny Pena.
Good morning. I want to thank each of you for your patience with numerous requests for information references this arrest. The successful prosecution of a case dictates that we confirm facts and work with our partner agencies in a collaborative manner, not only to close this case, but to strengthen our team to continue to share information and close other cases together in the future. Brief recap of our involvement in this incident, and then I'll pass it off to Chief Walter to talk about his department's involvement, and then Chief DeCastro. On Sunday, February 18th, at about 8:27 hours, officers responded to the McDonald's at 15525 West Greenway Road in reference to a female victim been attacked and sustained stab wounds to her neck. Arriving patrol officers provided immediate life-saving measures. The 18-year-old female victim continued to receive life-saving treatment from the Surprise Fire and Medical Department as she was transported from the scene for emergency treatment and eventual surgery. Based on the information known at the time, officers canvassed the area for a suspect, and while doing so, were notified of a stolen vehicle that had just occurred in the general direction from which the suspect had fled. The incidents not only believed to be related, but were quickly linked by the responding officers. Our patrol, tactical support, communications, and CID assets were allocated to assist on the investigation and search for the suspect. Through coordination with Metro Resources, the occupied stolen vehicle was located by the Scottsdale Police Department near the Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall. The occupant matched the description of the outstanding suspect and was identified as Raad Almansoori. He was subsequently taken into custody without incident. Almansoori was transported to the Surprise Police Department where he was interviewed by the case agent. Post Miranda warnings, Almansoori admitted to his involvement in the surprise incident, as well as another stabbing that occurred in Phoenix on February 17th. Phoenix PD was contacted and elected to respond to the Surprise Police Department to conduct a further interview with Almansoori, where he admitted his involvement. As I've stated before, Assistant Chief Castro will provide a statement as to their involvement. While originally speaking with Almansoori, he also admitted to committing a homicide in New York prior to fleeing to Arizona approximately 10 days ago. New York Police Department was contacted and confirmed the incident and that Almansoori was a suspect. Through communication with that department, the surprise police detective was able to obtain a full confession. They will be seeking, and that'd be New York PD, will be seeking a warrant and is in the process of getting an arrest warrant and working out extradition with our county attorney. Immediately after understanding the incident and the full gravity of what had been told to our investigator, I contacted Department of Public Safety Director Jeff Glover and asked for priority lab access for some of the DNA evidence to ensure that the suspect was in the CODIS system. My prior experience with working other homicides led me to believe that he may be involved with other more heinous crimes. And since he had spent many years as a resident in Arizona, I wanted to guarantee that we did not have any open cases that we could link to him and immediately begin to investigate. That process is underway. The outstanding collaborative effort by all involved is highly appreciated. The successful outcome of our initial investigation, a result of the diligent work displayed by my patrol communications and criminal investigations unit. To my community, we are all much safer with Almansoori off the streets. Our department thanks you for your patience, your continued support. As you know, our goal is to provide community safety that involves you. I know each of you can place yourself in the position of the victim. It is time to support her as she heals and make certain she knows this town absolutely loves her. The importance of today is to also highlight two key facts about this incident. The East and West Valley police chiefs collaborate continually throughout the year on all issues of community safety. Large events, DUI enforcement, traffic enforcement, leadership training, all of these categories are things that are very routine for us. And included in that is public safety and community as a whole. This arrest supports our ongoing efforts to share resources and intelligence to hold criminals accountable. During his interview, Almansoori also told us that he had intended to find and harm more individuals in our community. This arrest, without a doubt, stopped someone as heinous as everything he's done so far from continuing that path of destruction and eroding the community safety that we work diligently to maintain every day. And so as I close, I let you know that Surprise works collaboratively with not only our prosecutors to work on this case to ensure that this suspect was held with no bond, but daily with our fire and medical to provide the best unified public safety service this community can have. And in doing so, we are linked with every other agency throughout the state to make certain our citizens feel valued and safe every day. Thank you.
I'll keep my comments brief, but I want to echo the sentiments from Chief Pena about collaboration and partnership. And the reason I'll keep it at that, is really, when you think about partnerships, it's partnerships and technology that solve crimes and save lives. And in this case, it absolutely saved lives. When we talk about partnerships, Surprise and Scottsdale, two, both different sides of the community, right? Separated probably by an hour of drive time, yet instant communication because of the relationships that Chief Pena talks about. And we have, Chief can call me at any time and say, this is what's going on. And in this case, it's the sharing of information from one police agency or multiple police agencies to another that prevents crime and prevents violence of this magnitude. And so that's exactly what happened. We received this information of the stabbing and of the stolen vehicle in my city, and immediately one of my real-time crime center technicians entered this plate into what we'll call the hot list for our flock safety automated license plate readers that are spread throughout the city of Scottsdale. And so entering that information in immediately brought this plate up on a string of cameras, license plate reader cameras in our city, and told a tale of where this individual was heading. So we immediately started marshaling our patrol resources to cut him off. Ultimately, he found his way to Scottsdale Fashion Square. And if any of you have been to Scottsdale Fashion Square, that's thousands and thousands of people from all around the valley. We call it the People's Mall now. And multiple parking garages. So we flooded that area with resources, found the suspect in the vehicle in one of our larger parking garages on the third floor. Backed in. I think Chief Pena hit that nail on the head when he talked about that this gentleman was going to continue this string of violence, but he was going to do so there at Scottsdale Fashion Square. Patrol officers and one of my patrol sergeants found him backed into a spot, we believe looking for another victim, and then blocked him in and took him off at gunpoint and arrested him without further incident. It is those partnerships, that immediate information, it is the technology that solves these crimes. And the partnership that we have with all of our Valley partners standing to my right cannot be understated. The relationships we have are literally solving crimes today, solving a crime for NYPD, solving a crime in Phoenix and in Surprise, and what was going to be a heinous crime in Scottsdale. And so I just want to publicly thank my counterparts for that constant communication. It benefits all of us in the long run, and it absolutely saves lives. I'll turn it over to Assistant Chief DeCastro, and he can talk about the Phoenix PD portion.
Good morning, thank you. Cannot echo enough what both Chief Pena and Walters have both stated, that the sharing of information between all the Valley agencies is one of the greatest tools that we have in law enforcement today. On February 17th, 2024 at approximately 2:45 p.m., Phoenix police officers were called to an armed robbery near a business located at 19th Avenue and Glendale Avenue. When officers got to the scene, they learned that an adult woman went to a nearby medical urgent care to be treated for multiple stab wounds. Officers gathered additional information that a man attempted to rob the woman of her car at gun and at knife point. The man stabbed the woman and left the area on foot, leaving the vehicle behind. The woman was taken to a local hospital for continued treatment. The following day, on February 18th, detectives from Surprise Police Department notified Phoenix robbery detectives of one of their cases, which involved the suspect later identified as Raad Almansoori. Both cases were linked by him. Detectives followed up on the information and later added charges of armed robbery and aggravated assault under the Phoenix police case. Even though our case was in the beginning phases of our investigation, it truly highlights the cooperation between all Valley agencies that we have to be able to put this extreme criminal in jail and get him off the streets. As was stated, he was planning on continuing this crime spree, so we were extremely lucky to be able to catch him as quickly as we can with the cooperation of all the agencies involved. And so Phoenix Police Department will stay committed to protecting our community and our partner cities' communities by sharing essential information to not only have a safer and stronger cities, but valley-wide to create a better valley. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce the Maricopa County Attorney, Rachel Mitchell.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to start off by just reiterating what you've heard with the just impressive cooperation between the variety of law enforcement agencies across this valley. We live in a very large, geographically large county, and we have many, many dozens of police agencies, and the fact that it was seamless between Phoenix and Scottsdale and Surprise, DPS's efforts as well, is incredibly impressive to capture somebody who has committed such dangerous and violent offenses. I do have to say that people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. But that said, we also got involved at an early stage. We were contacted by the police so that we were able to send our attorney to the initial appearance court where a bond was set, and he is being held without bond, meaning there is no amount of money that he can post to get out of custody at this point. We will be reviewing charges later today and issuing charges at a timely fashion. I just want to say that I know there's been discussion about New York wanting to extradite this individual, and I'm sure that this is not aimed at the New York Police Department at all. I know they did a hard job and they did a good job, but we will not be agreeing to extradition. I've instructed my extradition attorneys not to agree to that. We're going to keep him here. These are mandatory prison sentences. And having observed the treatment of violent criminals in the New York area by the Manhattan DA there, Alvin Bragg, I think it's safer to keep him here and keep him in custody so that he cannot be out doing this to individuals either in our state or county or anywhere in the United States. So thank you again for all of your hard work, law enforcement, and we're happy to partner with you on this effort.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I'm going to, at this particular time, open the floor up to some questions. We're going to have some of the public information officers from Phoenix, Scottsdale, DPS join me here up to respond to a few questions. Again, remember our housekeeping orders. We will have a wireless microphone available. Once we call upon you, please wait for that microphone to be available so everybody can hear your question.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for doing this. Lauren Clark here with Channel 10. Can we speak a little bit to the supposed motive of this suspect? I know it was mentioned multiple times that there was indications that he intended to continue his crimes. What do we know about why he did this?
We cannot speculate on the suspect's motive at this particular time. A lot of the crimes that he's alleged to be involved with prior to arriving here in Arizona and while here in Arizona are still under investigation. But we cannot speculate on motivation at this time.
Hi, not sure if we can ask Attorney Mitchell a question, or perhaps you guys can answer this, but in Almansoori's Orange County, Florida case, there really wasn't much action that was taken on his aggravated assault and his sexual battery charges. And just going off of the extradition information that we were given, do you guys feel like there was like a failure in the legal system that kept him going from state to state committing these crimes?
We won't be able to respond to that particular incident. We have been asked for you to contact the Orlando, Florida Police Department, reference that incident for any additional details.
Hello, I'm Gabriella Becerra with 12 News. I have a couple questions, if that's okay. First, why wasn't an attempted homicide charge recommended in the Phoenix case? Records show the victim was stabbed in the neck, temple, and elsewhere, and he allegedly confessed to wanting to kill her.
Hello, Sergeant Brian Bauer with the Phoenix Police Department's PIO office. A lot of those changes, or a lot of those charges that we have put on him, they're subject to change. So as new evidence comes in, working with Surprise PD, working with Scottsdale PD, as well as working with New York, a lot of those charges are subject to change, meaning that they'll be able to increase to those attempted homicide. Our detectives still are going to be processing the crime scene. They're still also going to be contacting Almansoori and speaking with him directly as well. I know a lot of the information was already gathered by surprise, which they were willing to share with us, which is great, which led to this arrest, but this investigation still continues.
Also, maybe a question for both of you. Any specific challenges that came to locating him? Obviously, he took off in a stolen car at one point, but when it comes to incidents like this, what are some of the challenges that are presented?
So in particular with the stolen vehicle, that happened, I believe our timeline is 25 minutes after officers immediately responded to that McDonald's. Our patrol officers and our investigators were quickly able to piece that this is most likely going to be related based upon suspect description. With that, we start communicating, we start sharing information, we put out bolos agency-wide, Metro Phoenix-wide, and those practices aided in the quick apprehension of Mr. Almansoori, getting him off the streets.
And then lastly, are you guys able to provide any additional surveillance footage or video of the suspect that could help identify him in some of these other crimes?
I have reached out to our detectives, and as our investigation is still ongoing here in Surprise, we're not going to release any stills at this time.
Just wanted to check in. This wasn't his first offense in Arizona, dating back, I think, to 2017. He had offenses in those court filings. He's listed as a transient, potentially. Was his home base here? Do you know? I think he has family here. Do we know where his home base is?
We do not know where his home base is. We can tell you he does have family in Arizona in the Metro Phoenix area. We have had contact with him previously when his family members were living in the general Surprise area, but most of those contacts were when he was a juvenile.
And I don't know if he brought up, all these cases involve women, it seems like. Was that something that was mentioned when he talked to detectives? Did he express any general attitudes of hate towards women? Was that something that was discussed?
Again, that is part of our ongoing investigation. We're not able to release that information.
How did the suspect get here in the first place?
So we have investigated. What we have learned is he traveled from New York via airline and landed here in the Metro Phoenix area on or around, I believe, February 9th.
Did the stabbing in the McDonald's, did that take place in the bathroom? Did he?
So I will provide some clarity because New York PD had a press conference yesterday and had some inaccurate information. So in relations to our assault here in Surprise, we had a 18-year-old female enter the restroom, into the women's lady restroom on a work break. He was present in the restaurant and he followed her into the women's restroom, and that is where the assault occurred. We wanted to make sure that was abundantly clear. New York had said that she was drugged into a restroom, and that is inaccurate.
Did the stabbing happen in a stall?
The assault occurred in the ladies' restroom, sir.
And do we know where she was stabbed?
She was stabbed, I will just tell you, multiple times in the upper body.
Okay, thank you.
I know you guys also mentioned that he's being put into the CODA system. Is there, based off of what New York PD said yesterday, was that they believe that he was a serial killer that was preying on women? Right now, we only know of one murder. Is there reason to believe that he is linked to other murders or just other stabbings?
So what I can tell you as far as Surprise, and I'll open up here, when he was interviewed by our detectives, he only made reference to a crime in Phoenix, Arizona, which we've already discussed, and a crime in New York City. He did not make mention of any other crimes committed anywhere else within Arizona, within the Metro Phoenix area, or anywhere else within the nation.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? Because I also believe that New York PD said that he had hurt other women in Florida, at least, I believe, 2 other women in Florida.
So I will tell you, he did not make any mention of that to our investigators. And so you would have to reach out to NYPD where they obtained that information. Our investigators have not been able to substantiate that information from NYPD.
Was there any conversation with NYPD prior to locating Almansoori here? Did they know he was traveling to Arizona?
Let me just make sure I understand your question, okay? Are you asking if there was an alert given to us? The response to that is no. We did not learn about Almansoori's presence in Arizona or the Metro Phoenix area until he was taken into custody by Scottsdale PD.
For people who aren't familiar with the CODIS system, can you talk about what the process is of potentially linking a suspect to different cases and how long this could take?
Well, I won't go into the entire process, but I will just tell you this is not like TV where it's solved, within a matter of minutes or days. This is a very long, lengthy process in which the samples that DPS has done a great job for us and their crime lab of expediting a lot of the evidence that we've been able to provide them will be entered, and then it'll be compared with a variety of crimes and see if his particular DNA evidence matches up any outstanding crimes that may be right at this point, we do not know he's yet linked to.
And then just a clarification here, did the suspect admit to investigators that he had plans for further attacks? Did the evidence suggest that he had plans for further attacks?
So he made statements to our investigators that he had plans to continue committing violent acts, which is why one of the things that we're going to really ask our public, I will just tell you, we live in a great city here in the city of Surprise. We have a really great community. When we're talking about this assault of this young 18-year-old woman, I can tell you at this particular restaurant, complete strangers gave chase to that suspect on foot. Complete strangers and coworkers rendered medical aid, which is why I believe she is still here present with us today and has the opportunity for a full recovery. When we are talking about that, what we also know is that this is a completely random violent act. And Mr. Almansoori liked committing these violent acts from what we were seeing with Phoenix and Surprise against young women. And so with that, we are going to be asking that if anybody out there has any additional information that they would like to share, we are asking you to contact the Surprise Police Department at area code 623-222-TIPS, and that number at the last four is 8477.
For the surprise assault, what was the weapon used for the stabbings, and did he have any other weapons on him at the time of arrest?
So we aren't going to disclose what weapons he had on him when he was contacted, but we will just obviously tell you he used a sharp object. Anything else? All right, well, we thank you all for coming. Again, County Attorney Rachel Mitchell will be conducting her daily briefing in the courtyard area for those of you who are wanting to remain for that. But we appreciate your guys' patience and thank you for being here.